Welcome into this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio this afternoon, a little before 1 o'clock as we are hitting the button today. Ole Miss and Missouri basketball tonight from Columbia, Missouri. The Rebels won the first one by 21, something like that, and they will try to sweep the season series against the Tigers, as we talked about yesterday. Definitely a must-win game for Ole Miss. They get this one, they would have another must-win game coming up in a few days as well. It's all must-win from this point.
Unless you lose, at which point it's not must-win anymore.
That's a good point. Yes. You're in a single elimination tournament essentially right now, and you are eliminated whenever that is whenever that does happen, if that should happen.
Eliminated from at-large bid contention.
Yeah.
If you win tonight, you
remain in contention.
You remain in some degree of contention because the bubble sucks. Your team has warts. Every other team in the bubble has warts. It's a matter of how many warts. Ole Miss can't afford any more warts.
Yeah, the bubble's bad. It's not this bad if you lose again. So that's
if you lose, you're 7-8 in the league. You're the only people who will come on here and talk on tomorrow and say, "Oh yeah, we're still in the tournament picture," are the people who, God bless them, sometimes I admire these people.
In some ways, an easier way to live.
It is probably a more effective overall way to live.
Yeah.
Though they're the ones that buy the timeshare of the Pacific Coastland in Nebraska.
Seeing the bright side of it all.
Yeah, I mean, And those are the ones that when the doctor says you've got a week to live, they say, so I'm not dying tomorrow?
Hey, look, some people are very content with their meatloaf at 6 p.m. on every Monday afternoon. They know what to expect. They know what they're getting, and they're fine with it. It's all good. I mean, It's probably a more low stress life. You know what? It's cool. Gonna grill some brats tomorrow.
Yep.
Gonna have the kids over on Sunday. Gonna do the whole deal. It's gonna light the egg. And
yep.
At 5 o'clock we're gonna watch Jeopardy, and at 6:30 we're gonna watch Wheel of Fortune. And gonna lay in bed and watch the Food Network at 8 o'clock. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go to bed.
I don't know that I could be happy like that, but there are people that are. And
except for the Food Network part.
I can watch the Food Network. My favorite thing is on Saturday watching the replays of old Iron Chef Americas on the Cooking Channel.
Yeah.
I can watch those every Saturday in a marathon.
I've seen most all of them. It's not really something you can rewatch, though. Once you've seen one, I feel like it's kind of over.
Yeah.
I've tried to give Chopped a little more of a chance. I had a run there where I was really into it. And I got bored. It didn't do much for me at that point. It's not my
favorite show.
No,
and I can't watch. Got to be careful saying this because I think Carson really likes it. The guys' grocery games, I just can't.
Guy Fieri does nothing for me.
No.
He makes me not want to watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
He must do something for someone, though, because they show him every Friday. They just go on a marathon of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And they've done enough to do them Friday after Friday after Friday after Friday. It's incredible.
I got down a rabbit hole about that show a few days ago. I saw something online, and it talks about all the stuff the restaurants have to go through to get on that show. And then sometimes they'll just pull the plug at the last minute or never actually run it, even though they've spent there. Like you're doing this kind of gamble and spending a lot of money for something that might not pay off at all. However, almost all of them say that even on reruns the next day, they're just packed and stuff, and it just fills up.
Yeah.
And you have people that travel the country to hit all the DDDs along the way.
I would think if you own a restaurant and he calls,
you have to say yes.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're just rocking and rolling with no parachute, you're just cruising.
I don't know what it is about that. We'll continue in a second. First, tell you about the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Download the Speed Pass Plus app. Take advantage of the ability to earn points. And when you earn points, you save money there with all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. Also, you can, speaking of food, get the lunch special, $5.69, 2 sides bread, 32-ounce drink. Stop on into the hot case. Barbecue, chicken, country side items, and more there at the Oxford Exxon. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call the number, ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is totally up to you. You can shop that quote around if you like. It's no skin off his back. Or you can do what I would recommend that you do, what I've done 3 times now, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service. Corey and the people at Clark Ford, they really want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. People say, what does that mean? It means you should call that number and start to find out. 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food. Be a good place tonight to watch Ole Miss, Missouri at 8. And there's baseball starting tomorrow, and then there's baseball this weekend. There's Ole Miss Vanderbilt Saturday at 2:30. That game's in Nashville. And there's other stuff on as well. And you don't even have to watch TV. You can just hang out with your friends, have a meal, have burger, po' boys, chicken, appetizers, great beer selection, full bar, the whole deal there at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford, and also Rafters in New Albany.
Yeah, I don't know if I guess it's the style of cooking here, because the baking shows do nothing for me at all. I can't watch any of the bake-offs. They have to be cooking, not baking. I'm not saying baking is not cooking, but there's a difference. And the baking just, somebody said they do the baking, the kids baking championship thing is one of their. Not yours either. Can't do that one.
I can't really make fun of anybody, because last night Laura said, "Do you want to watch The Bachelor?" And I said, "No." And we watched The Bachelor. So I can't say anything.
You said no, but did it anyway.
Said no and sat and watched it anyway.
What'd you think?
So the one girl, Michelle.
I know nothing. So
she's the girl who's a teacher from Minnesota.
Okay.
She seems really nice. And I don't like him anymore.
The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I hope.
You don't want her to get tangled.
I hope she gets to the end and then dumps him.
Oh.
Because I'm cheering for heartbreak. There's 2 other girls. One's fine. The one that I actually thought he was going to pick bolted on him last night, which I like that. That made me happy.
What are we down to?
He's down to 3.
Oh, okay.
He did the at-homes, but they couldn't go to the homes because of COVID.
So
they had to bring everybody to secluded place, and it was just.
Where'd they do it at?
I don't know. Someplace in Pennsylvania.
Really?
I think.
Like Amish country or something?
It's a really pretty area. Yeah. You
ever driven through there?
I've been to a few places in Pennsylvania, but I've never been, I've flown into Philly. I've actually been to Pittsburgh, and I've driven from Pittsburgh to Morgantown a couple of times. So I've seen parts of western Pennsylvania.
When I was like 9 years old, we did like a DC trip, and then I had family members that lived in Fairfax, Virginia, because my uncle worked for the Pentagon, and we drove through like Maryland and like Amish country and went to like the Hershey factory and stuff like that in Pennsylvania and did that kind of trip. I kind of remember that for whatever reason. So anyway, reading from the stream a little bit. Yeah, I saw Freeze didn't make it through in February. That was a false alarm on the getting off the social media for a little while prior to spring practice.
Ryan's asking me why I don't like him. I do want to say this because, of course, somebody thinks it's some really horrible reason. He feels like an empty suit to me. There's not a lot of personality to the guy. He seems like a nice guy. He's fine.
And we've seen that through some seasons, and when it happens, it does hit a lull at some point where
he's kind of boring. He seems nice enough. He's fine, but he's kind of boring. And he's also kind of a chameleon a little bit. Like he adjusts his personality to each different girl.
Oh.
And I don't really like that. Be who you are.
And then pick
if
one.
You're indeed going after a wife here, if that's the goal.
They all are.
Yeah, I know.
Love.
Right.
Like Ciprob, our boy in the thread.
That's all. It's not the whole scandal with Chris Harrison and all that, which to me feels like just.
Only Rebel Grovers are going to pick this up, so I apologize. But for a minute, so you didn't tell us the whole story. So you're actually seeing somebody else. Reading from the stream here, I didn't pick that up from the thread the other day. He's crazy about someone else or anybody else. You commented in the thread on the board.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, the girl that we were all worked up about.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, I'm so confused now.
Why are you confused?
Well, he was all worked up over a girl that he had never really gone out with. Even he just knew her.
Yeah. But I didn't know he was seeing someone else. That's what we're now learning here.
Now I'm caught up.
Yeah.
So he's seeing someone,
I'm
yet
reading
he's
from the
still
stream.
worked up over the girl that he talked about in the thread.
That is the interpretation of what I'm getting in the stream here.
Well, he's not married. He's not serious.
No, I'm not upset. I love
so
you.
Who cares? Yeah, right.
Yeah, he says, Sipper up here says, didn't tell the whole story. Currently with somebody just crazy about the other, or I was crazy about the other. So you got past it? Oh, he says liquor helps. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've never been. Kevin says Gettysburg is a must, and that's something
I've
always wanted to go do.
I would really dork out on battlefields, even though I've never done it.
Yeah.
I would dork out on battlefields. I think that'd be something I'd really get down the hole on.
If you told me I could go to one, that would be way up there.
Gettysburg.
Yeah.
A couple questions from the stream. I don't know what they're talking about. Daniel says, I remember that Oxford regional when they 0-2. Was it 16? Yeah, they lost to Utah and Tulane in the 16 regional. 0-2.
SipRep says, hey, don't judge. I was blind, but now I see. I'm pretty sure people that are subscribed to the site would know my situation if I told all of it.
Okay, that's fair.
Fair enough.
Yeah, don't dox yourself on the website, please.
It's all good.
Because that's not our fault.
No.
If you do that, that's on you at that point.
And I'm not looking it up, I promise.
You don't want to be that thing, too, where in like 5 years we're still talking about that thread you started. Like, you don't want that reputation. Like the Beams 8-star from 10 years ago. We had the washer and dryer incident. Like, you don't want that. That's something you don't want to continue on. Sammy says milk or dark chocolate. Dark chocolate, actually. I like dark chocolate.
Dark.
Yeah.
I know. And I know people. Some people say that makes you a communist.
Jeffrey gets so worked up on this topic.
He'll fight on that.
Yeah.
He'll come to blows.
But I like milk chocolate fine, but milk chocolate can get too sweet so fast. I mean, just a little bit off, and milk chocolate gets sweet. Especially like if you're putting it with something else, like, and I never do this because I can't eat it, but like, I sound like Neal, but like if I'm eating a sundae or something, I'd much rather have a dark chocolate syrup on something that's already sweet to kind of.
Because you're just adding sweet on top of sweet.
Yeah. I need something to offset it and to balance it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's why that like really good chefs can take an item on.
It's kind of the whole.
They like, okay, I can replace this for this and this because it's concepts.
Yeah.
It's chemistry, if you will.
It's in some ways it's not very complicated. You're just balancing the dish with the acid and the sweet and the whole deal, and you're doing whatever. So you watch a lot of Food Network. You come up with these things over time.
Well, that's when you know you've watched too much Food Network. When they're like, and the mystery ingredient is, and you're like, oh, what I would do is, and then you're like, whoa, I need to go get a life.
Well, when I talked to Kelly about it over the years, he said that like home cooks, he's like, y'all all screw up because you just don't use enough salt. He's like, job one is you just don't salt your food enough. He's like, that's really the main problem.
Well, whenever that happens on the Food Network, when they taste it and they're like, this really needed salt. And you're like, didn't you know you had to season the people that don't season their food? Like, how do you?
But you've known that person.
Oh, of course.
That puts, bland, nothing.
Well, it's your meatloaf on Monday guy.
My first college roommate, he would eat hamburgers, and he would eat nothing on them but salt. Literally would eat a plain hamburger, no cheese, no condiments, but put salt packets on it.
Well, that's weird.
It was. I knew a girl in college who ate raw hamburger meat. She'd put salt and pepper on hamburger meat and eat raw hamburger meat.
Okay,
that's weirder.
That's weird. Grind says he'd want to go to like Normandy for.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, sure,
yeah, for sure. He's saying World War II. Been watching World War II docs, and my goodness, just crazy. Yeah, World War II, man. A different deal.
Is that the one, if you had to really geek out on one, you really would go all in? It's that a revolutionary for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably the revolutionary one for me, but World War II's right there because it's crazy.
Nobody goes, you know what, I want to learn everything about World War I. Like, nobody goes, let me really delve into World War I.
Let's really dive into what happened to the Archduke Ferdinand. Let's do it. No one says that.
Well, okay, Weasel's got a good point here. I love tartare, though. That's different. Like, that's designed for that and made that way.
But that has some acid and such in it that's
there's
to some
lemon
degree
and there's
cooking it.
Yeah. That's not just, hey, open up the packet from Larson's and here you go.
All right, so we're jumping around. We'll get to baseball and basketball.
God, tuna tartare sounds so good right now.
It is so good. If Hinckley had been successful in March of 1981, seriously, hold on a minute.
Sure.
Hinckley missed by like a millimeter.
He did.
I mean, he was right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm nothing against Ronald Reagan because my grandmother would have just died. But let's say Reagan doesn't make it. Okay? Reagan dies on the operating table.
Okay.
Is the Kennedy assassination still such American folklore, if you will? Are we because there was a thread on the board today about not Gorbachev, Khrushchev supposedly wanted Kennedy killed and all that stuff. We go down that rabbit hole. Just for a minute, skip that part, and let's say that Reagan was killed by Hinckley.
Okay.
Are we still obsessed with Kennedy? Because that would have been less than 18 years between presidential assassinations.
Okay. My context is not as good because I was born 2 years after this.
Okay.
But, and I guess this is the question to answer, Reagan was already so famous that he was, of all our former presidents, dating back through modern era, however you want to call that, I guess back to Kennedy, let's at least do it that way.
Sure.
He would be the only other one that could be assassinated and have the same folklore around him from a popularity, transcendent standpoint. Also, so. Early in the term, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
2 months into the
That's
term.
what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of impact on that. Like, some of the reason Kennedy, other than the only one to happen in the modern era, is that he was such this figure. He was the attractive and the Catholic, and the whole deal that he brought in of being this transcendent politician. Reagan might be the only other one that would be able to match that. So,
but it's just 2 months in.
Yeah,
2 months in, because it was the day of the national championship game.
I guess my point though is he's already known though by public. I mean, it's not just, hey, do you really know that politician, right?
Yeah.
Because, Barack Obama in March of 2009, he's not known to the public yet as like this, I've known you for 10 years, I've whatever.
Yeah.
Like you would with Reagan, I think.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but...
Because Obama's ascension from where he was to president was rapid.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
And Reagan's was different. Reagan was a...
Yeah, I mean, Obama did not, in the public mind, did not start any kind of political career until that that convention speech in 2004.
Yeah. Well, Reagan was a factor in the 76 race, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had all his other stuff.
Yeah, was the governor of California and a movie person and all that stuff.
Oh, it would be...
Yeah.
Right there.
it's just different.
Now, there is the extra level with Kennedy's because whether it's stupid or not stupid or right or wrong, the conspiracies that surround it create a different dynamic. Had Hinckley just killed Reagan, Hinckley just killed Reagan. And there's no...
I think the parallels would have been it would have been super close.
Yeah.
Nut job, obsessed with a woman, kills president to prove his point.
Look, your screw has got to be so loose to try to assassinate the president. But hang on, I'm going to kill him, and then you're going to think it's cool and have
There's so many things about the whole Oswald thing that if you really dive into Oswald, you come away from it going, yeah, he did it.
Yeah, you have no doubts.
No doubts.
And you spent more time on it than you'd like to admit.
Yes, far more.
Yeah.
He was a nut. Literally, I'm convinced if November the 21st, 1963, if Marina Oswald would have said, okay, one more chance and this is it, Lee, and invited him into the home and let him have dinner with his family and they have little makeup time that night, I'm literally convinced the next day he does not kill Kennedy.
You really think so?
Yes.
He was just in a mood.
Well, he was
deranged
at the end, and he was
sure.
deranged. He was a nut. Look at his previous behavior. He was crazy. Look at Hinckley. Hinckley was nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, Hinckley was originally going to kill Carter.
I mean, Hinckley was more nuts.
Yeah, but Hinckley was, well, kind of. Oswald tried to kill the general before he dismissed.
Yeah.
Hinckley was going to kill Carter, and then Hinckley became convinced that Carter was going to lose and so he wasn't going to be popular, so he waited to kill whoever beat Carter. He set his sights on Reagan only after Reagan won. It wasn't ideological or anything. Any more than Oswald was ideological. Oswald wasn't like an anti-Democrat guy or.
Hinckley, one of three people to have attempted a presidential assassination and is currently not living in prison. There's three.
Yeah, I remember when he was found not guilty by reason of insanity.
Yeah, he's really criminal status released in 2016. I kind of remember that now.
Yeah. It didn't work out between he and Jody, though. I don't believe.
It did not appear so.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea who the other two are? The other presidential assassination people who are not in prison.
Oh, they're still alive?
What's
her name? Siggy Freud or whatever? Siggy Freed?
Brom or whatever.
Brom.
She's still alive. Yeah. Member of the Manson family. Though not involved in the Tate LaBianca murders. I'm struggling there. For which they're best known, she attempted to assassinate Gerald Ford in 1975. For that crime, she was sentenced to life in prison. She was paroled from prison in 2009 after serving 34 years. She published a book in 2018.
Oh.
Did not know that.
Might have to go look that one up.
And then Sarah Jane Moore is an American criminal who attempted to assassinate Gerald Ford. Gerald had a rough time.
In San Francisco, right?
That is correct, yes. Yes. The two of them are also the only two women to have attempted to assassinate an American president. Both their attempts on Gerald Ford, and both took place in California within 3 weeks of one another.
Yeah.
So she served 32 years. She was paroled in 2007. She's 91 years old.
Oh.
Still alive. So, anyway. We can get on the rabbit hole more or less if you'd like here in a minute. First, I will tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting and understands your market, a leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. I was talking to Sandy Grass just today. Actually, was seeking a couple of tickets for her parents. She was looking for a couple of tickets for her parents to tomorrow night's game.
Yeah,
sure. Night.
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, so if anybody out there wants to hook Sandy and the people at Grenada Nissan up, holler. We're also brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue, your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylists hand-select pieces from top designers. From work to lifestyle to nightlife, there's the perfect something for everyone. The Rogue has all the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, Duckhead, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at BlueDeltaJeans.com. They've been advertising with us for the past couple of years. We've always directed you to direct message them to set up a time to get measured. But now, whether you're coming to Oxford or not, you can go to BlueDeltaJeans.com and get measured by their new virtual tailor and design your own jeans. Just for our podcast listeners, enter the discount code Rebel Grove. That's all lowercase, one word at checkout, and take 10% off your order. They're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I think you will feel the same way when you try yours. And we're brought to you by Alpha Specialties. Alpha's located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. They are your trailer-specific professionals. They have the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. They've got Load Trail, which is the premium brand trailer, the highest quality utility equipment dump and gooseneck trailer being built today. They also have the Hallmark cargo trailers, one of the most quality cargo trailers on the market, perfect for hauling goods to markets and more. To get in touch with them, go to 601-932-9798. Check them out at alphaofms.com.
Podcast is brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com is the website. You can check out the events page, see what's going on locally, whether it be events, hotels, restaurants, and more. So whenever you need to know, check it, bookmark it, keep it close to you every single week as they update it daily. Again, visit oxfordms.com/events. So let's see. And people always wonder, y'all script out a show, right? Yeah, because we thought we were going to talk presidential assassinations in the opening block of today's program. Let's see. I know nothing about Gerald Ford's tenure, really. Like, I feel like I know history well enough, and I've read a lot of presidential books, but I kind of skip over him on both directions. That's one I don't.
Well, he basically sacrificed the White House to kind of make the whole Watergate thing go away. He pardoned Nixon. Had he not pardoned Nixon, he almost certainly would have been reelected. He was almost not reelected, elected.
Mm-hmm.
He was almost elected anyway. It was super close. It actually came down to like one state. Came down to New York, which was really close, to prove that politics have indeed changed over the course of time.
That was the swing state that, and the start probably, when it started really moving that direction, if you will.
Oh, this is, are you aware of this?
I saw it in the stream. That's all I got.
This is breaking news. Tiger Woods injured in a crash at Ranchos Palos Verdes at Hawthorne Road near Black Horse Road.
Where's he at?
I'm about to check and see. Fire crews had to use the jaws of life to get him out of the vehicle. This is per a journalist in Los Angeles. So I'm guessing. Please forgive me here if I'm catching up as we go. This is
I had not seen anything about it, and I don't see where golf Twitter is really saying much. So
I'm searching.
Yeah, no, you're fine. We're all just hanging out. It's all good.
It's really all he's got is the one tweet.
Yeah, it's that one thing. But, I mean, he's got 10,000 followers. I mean, it looks like a real person.
Another person, I'm almost careful to do this, another person is saying he's in the operating room right now with 2 broken legs after a car accident. Again, I have no idea.
Yeah, there's literally no second sourcing anywhere really on the internet.
I don't know. We'll follow along.
I put a Tiger Woods tag on my Twitter. I mean, just scrolling.
Is it going nuts now?
Yeah, people. Well, I mean, nothing official. Just people asking questions, trying to figure it out. Yeah, no.
Would think ESPN would break into coverage if there's something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Or the Golf Channel.
What's that on DirecTV? Do you know the number?
I don't have that.
I'll find it.
Seeing a lot of golf media right now saying they have no idea, but they're checking on it. So,
well, it's if you're covering professional golf, you're not driving around each day going, "Hey,
218."
Okay.
We'll see if they break in at any point or say anything. They appear to just currently be doing a normal show, so I don't know.
Okay. You want to go baseball or basketball?
I don't care. I'm so off right now. I don't have any idea. What are we going to talk about?
We can talk baseball. Ole Miss beats Texas yesterday. I think it was 8-1.
Yeah, it was.
The final.
It took me an hour and a half to fix it in my story, but yes, it was 8-1.
Well, for the people who don't know how this works, a lot of times you're pre-writing as you go, and you just sometimes forget to go back and edit.
And my brain was so scrambled that I read back through it like 5 times and never picked up that the score was wrong. It never clicked in my head at all to notice the score. I'm looking for grammar. I'm not looking for
It's score. One of the flaws of what we do is that we don't have an editor, if you will. Yeah. And so
there's no new eyes.
You look at your work so many times that you gloss over it.
Yeah. Look, they played well yesterday. Derek Diamond was fantastic. I mean, he looked like a guy that would be one of the better Sunday pitchers in the league this year, and we'll assume a Friday night role next year after the other 2 guys are drafted with Hoagland and Nikhazy. He was 94-97 in the first. He held 94, 95 for most of his outing. It fell off kind of there toward the 6th when he got about 85 pitches deep, but struck out 7, I think, through the first 3 innings. I mean, he was electric. And now, look, Texas offensively is bad. They strike out a ton, but he exploited them. I thought the bigger thing, too, was the slider was a little better. He had a little better feel for a slider yesterday. He was throwing that 83 to 85, somewhere in there. It's pretty hard. And flashed the third pitch a little bit. It's still coming along, but he was he was awesome. The big news coming with Peyton Chatney doing something to his hamstring. I haven't heard anything today. They were going to give it a day, see how it felt. It did not appear like he tore it, but that is simply my opinion based off what little I've heard and what I saw yesterday.
Well, when you say tear, you mean the significant
I mean
tear.
where it
folds
up on him.
He wouldn't have been
because any pull is technically a tear.
He wouldn't have been walking after the game.
And he even came out and did like the handshake line.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
He was moving around. He would have been in
way too much pain for that.
And he jumped up immediately. And, I mean, look, to his credit, he was trying to stay in the game. And Mike was like, yeah, no, go sit down. That's not a thing today.
I don't know anything about him. Y'all can make fun of me. I don't know whether he played some last year or if he's a true freshman. I don't know.
He was their second baseman last year as a true freshman.
Yesterday was really the first day that I ever watched him play.
He's an energy kid now.
There's a lot there.
Mm-hmm.
He's a prototypical top of the lineup kind of guy. I thought he and Gonzalez both had some really good at-bats yesterday when the game was still on the line, when the game was 1-0, Texas had tied it 1-1.
Yeah.
I thought if I remember right, how do you say his name, Chatney?
Yeah, Chatney.
He hit a double down the third base line, and then I thought one of the big at-bats of the game was Gonzalez worked a walk. If I remember correctly, fell down 1-2 in the count and worked the walk.
That's right, yeah.
And then they kind of blew the game open after that. They got into the Texas bullpen at that point because Texas's starter had been fairly effective.
He was good, yeah. He was
got off to a shaky start, and then he settled in. And
Ole Miss blew some early opportunities to kind of get a lead, and then it got dicey for a while until they put up the 4 or 5 spot, whatever it was there in the 6th inning. Justin Bench had the 2-out single that separated it. It went from 3-1 to 5-1. When he did that, Trey LaFleur looked really good. First time I thought the shoulder wasn't impeding him yesterday. He obviously was not supposed to even play this weekend because of that dislocation, but Mike said that they cleared him on Wednesday or Thursday, one over the other. He had a home run and a double yesterday. Gonzalez looked pretty good all weekend. Yeah, Chatney was 3 for 4 with 3 doubles at that point of the game when he left.
And I'm trying not to get addicted to the results at this point of the season. I'm more looking at the process. I like his at-bats. I like the way that he approaches the plate. I love that about Gonzalez. Everybody's hung up on the plays and the numbers, and I get that completely. But I'm more interested in what his approach looks like because we talked about this yesterday. There's going to get a scouting report out on him, and they're going to adjust. They're going to find if there's a hole in his swing, they're going to hammer it. So his ability to grind out at-bats against good pitching is going to be the difference between him being a freshman All-American or an All-American. The broken leg thing apparently is true.
Yeah, okay. L.A. County sheriffs here have said on February 28, 2021, at approximately 7:12 a.m., LASD responded to a single-vehicle rollover traffic collision on the border of Rolling Hills Estates and Rancho Palos Verdes. The vehicle was traveling northbound on Hawthorne Boulevard at Black Horse Road when it crashed. The vehicle sustained major damage. The driver and sole occupant was identified as PGA golfer Eldrick Tiger Woods. Woods was extricated from the wreck with the jaws of life by Los Angeles County firefighters and paramedics and then transported to a local hospital by ambulance for his injuries. The traffic investigation is being conducted by investigators for LSAD Lomita Station. So that coming from the L.A. County Sheriff's Office within the last 3 minutes. So it is true. Whatever injury-wise, I have no idea. We're just now kind of picking it all up, but that's where it is. So, yeah, it's kind of thrown me off for a little bit for a second. Look, you hope he's healthy and safe. Job won by 1,000 times. That caveat is necessary before I say the next thing. He was on the interview at Riviera Friday, Saturday, something like that. He's been in California for the golf tournament or whatever. And he did not speak optimistically about Augusta in April. He was asked if he was going to be there, and he said, God, I hope so, I think was his quote. But it was not an optimistic of, I'm preparing for Augusta. There was a chance that we were basically seeing the end of Tiger anyway. You have to think that this, if nothing else, we're all kind of dealing with the realization that, again, hopefully he's okay, but assuming he's okay,
what I'm
might be it to a golf golf
What
career.
I'm reading is serious but stable condition and 2 broken legs.
Yeah.
I would assume among other injuries.
Right. And if that's the case, it's probably the end of his golf career.
Yeah, I would think so.
Already talking about how many ever knee and back surgeries that he's had. Had the back fusion 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever that was. Got a lot going on from that standpoint. So, again, hope he's fine first, and then we'll go from there. But.
Yeah, he. There's always something to talk about. He. It's hard to put into words what. Assuming this is the end of his career, it's hard to put into words what he meant for golf.
Well, and given what we dealt with last year, we're so on, hey, he's just okay and alive right after what happened to Kobe, that
right.
There's a certain visceral thing that happens first where you're just, hey, he's cool. Like, no matter what the golf looks like, he's alive.
Yeah, sure.
And I think our mindset changes a little bit after what happened with Kobe last year. I think that altered us all a little bit with that. But yeah, it's the early details do not appear good. Oh, look, he saved golf. Every golfer in the world should thank him. It's indescribable the amount of he brought golf into the popular culture.
He did for golf what Magic Johnson and Larry Bird did for the NBA.
And it's allowed them to sustain it in a similar but different way without him, where it didn't completely. He hung around long enough.
Yeah, no,
where it didn't fall off and go, okay, you're back to just being this.
Better put is he probably did what Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and subsequently Michael Jordan did for the NBA, all in one.
Did you see where, and this shocked me, and this is not you mentioned NBA, what made me think of it. I saw somebody tweet about this last weekend, that golf on Saturday and Sunday afternoons only, but Saturday, Sunday afternoons, they do a better average rating every week than the primetime NBA games.
Oh, I'm sure.
Kind of blew me away. I didn't expect that. That was not something I would have anticipated.
The NBA, and I said this on SEC Football and Beyond this morning, the NBA has become very niche until the playoffs. Does well in the playoffs. But the regular season NBA has become very niche. And I'm not sure they can figure out why.
How much of it is because of the amount of teams that make the playoffs and different things?
I don't think it's that. Because
it's not a crazy long season. It's not a short season, and I know that affects it, but
for whatever reason, their ability to market multiple players has declined. I said today that I thought basketball as a sport has been more impacted as a sport by the pandemic and the way that the product looks on the court than any other sport. You could still watch an NFL game and it looked like an NFL game.
Yeah, of course. They did a really good job with camera angles and different things too.
You could watch a Major League Baseball game and it still looked like a Major League Baseball game. You still watched Trevor Bauer pitch to Freddie Freeman. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The NBA in the regular season without crowds, it doesn't have enough juice. I love the NBA, and I'm having a hard time. And if I wasn't doing this show every Thursday or whatever with Carson, I don't know that I'd watch it at all. Kind of keep up a little. But like last night, the Heat and the Thunder were playing, and, Thunder own both of those picks. I'm cheering for both teams to lose, and the Thunder have this young former Kentucky player emerging as a superstar. And I'm just like, it's hard to watch. You watch a Lakers game, and there's LeBron and all that stuff, but there's nobody in the stands. It doesn't have a feel of a Lakers game. You watch a Lakers game in the regular season, and they're showing celebrities and stuff like that. There's other stuff. There's none of that now.
Maybe an unfair thing because of the logistics, but how the Golf Channel has not cut in yet.
It's weird.
To at least give somebody, get behind a desk somewhere and give me some preliminary thoughts or something. I mean, just even if you're just reading the tweet over and over and over again. I mean,
I'm going to see if ESPN's doing it, and if not, why?
It's you're the Golf Channel. You hired a guy for years to do nothing but follow him around and tweet about every shot he took in a tournament. Like, what are you doing?
Well, ESPN's doing this with their programming. It's weird.
Again, just put somebody behind a desk. Nothing. Not even on like a bottom line ticker. Nothing.
That's the part that blows me away.
I mean, right now they're showing Ole Miss and Missouri. Missouri minus 3.5, over under 132.5. We're just scrolling through.
Yeah, I'm just seeing if anybody's got something. Nothing.
That's a no-brainer for me, Grind. He says he was talking about having no arms or no legs. I'd much rather have arms than legs. It's not even close. You're not sure?
I just want both.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah.
I didn't say either way was good. Especially if I got to have prosthetics. I'd much rather have prosthetic legs than arms.
No,
we're still not. We're doing some LPGA stuff.
We're talking about women.
Yeah. This is strange. Because you're not even like, oh, I've got to break into a tournament or something with rights. You're doing your own like news show. It looks like just the Golf Today or whatever it's called.
I'm looking to see if TMZ has anything more because they're
typically best.
Pretty good. They had it.
They had it?
Yeah, they had it. Appears to have basically had it first. They had an updated story 8 minutes ago that's basically just taking the statement. Yeah, they don't have anything new.
No, nothing. So, anyway. All right, as good a time as any to tell you about Northeast Spark. NESpark.com, servicing people across rural communities. 2 packages, 100 Mbps or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. NESpark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service available as well as parental controls, network security, and more. Calls. See if Spark is in your area here around Oxford. And if so, get them to install it for you. Again, 662-238-3159.
We're also brought to you by the law firm of Bain, Moss & Bowen, located in historic downtown Corinth. Their firm practices a wider range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss & Bowen's the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard. You can tap into that experience by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth, or by calling them at 662-287-1620. We are also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB offers its customers the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. To learn more, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. Also brought to you by Regency Travel. John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. We've told you how this stuff works. There's a lot of talk about summer vacations from people and Christmas time vacations at the end of the year as people start thinking, hey, we're almost to the end of this crazy pandemic and all of that. Get in touch. Great deals can be had. No matter your political persuasion or what you think or whatever, there are great deals to be had in the travel industry right now. Get in touch with John. Let him tell you about them. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. All right, I'll ask you this. Is there anything you read into the SEC going 8-1 in Arlington? Arkansas goes 3-0. Ole Miss goes 3-0. Mississippi State goes 2-1 and was almost 3-0.
And you can argue they were as impressive as anybody because they didn't have 2 of their top 4 pitchers. State did.
Yeah.
While going 2-1, and they lost the game by a foot. The kid from Jackson, if he didn't pick that ball at first, then TCU loses. Texas is overrated. I think that's a guarantee. They can't hit. They couldn't hit fastballs. They wasn't even like, oh, they ran into this or this. They just couldn't hit fastballs. They struck out 46 times in 3 games.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's not good. So they're overrated. Their pitching's okay. They were really good defensively. They can't hit. Texas Tech was the interesting one to me. They go 0-3. They were competitive in all 3 games. They could have won any. They ran out of pitching against State, but they could have beaten Ole Miss and they could have beaten Arkansas. Their pitching was fine.
They blew the lead late early against Arkansas, right?
They did. They had like a 5-1 lead at one point and blew it. Their pitching was fine. They can really hit, but they are abysmal defensively. And here's the deal. I don't know that you correct that. I think some ways, especially in college, in short seasons, whatever you are defensively is what you are. And I thought they were horrific. They couldn't catch the ball. They kicked it around. A lot of unforced errors. I thought TCU was the best of the three teams. They go 1-2, but they were fine. I thought they played well. I thought they played fine. I like some of their arms. Thought it was the most consistent team over the course of the weekend from the Big 12. What it tells me is the Big 12 sucks. They're bad. They went 0-7 on opening day, even without the three teams in Arlington.
Yeah.
And then I think Baylor lost twice to like Texas Rio Grande or somebody. Like it was, there've been some weird scores in the Big 12 this first weekend. So
from what you've seen in the SEC, if you offered an SEC coach right now 18-12, he would take it on the spot, right?
Oh my God, he would jump and cry and count his national seed.
Even Corbin or the cat at Florida or
because anyone. I mean, Ole Miss's schedule, God help them.
I know, brutal.
When you don't play Tennessee, Missouri, and Kentucky, and you play everybody else.
Yeah.
Ole Miss can be a hell of a baseball team and go 16-14 in the league.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, I mean,
and a lot of pressure early because you open with Auburn and Alabama. By God, you better get them.
Yeah.
Because you see what's coming.
That's what I mean. I mean, the following is a duh statement. I get it. So I'm acknowledging that up front. But when Ole Miss and Arkansas play each other, and Arkansas and Texas A&M play each other, and Vanderbilt and Florida play each other, and Ole Miss and LSU play each other, and LSU and Arkansas play each other, you get where I'm going. There are going to be losses.
Somebody's not winning the series.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's duh. I get it. Everybody's going to know you're an idiot. But you know what I mean. I mean, those are losses. You are not this perception of someone going 22-8 or something. It's just not realistic with all of those teams that good. I mean, you look at –
it would be an East team that had a really favorable West schedule if anybody had a chance to do something like that. The West team's not hang it up. A West team would take 17-13 right now.
Yeah, because that would guarantee you hosting and probably put you in a national seed picture.
Yeah, I think so. You
from
might
an RPI standpoint.
Yeah, you'd be 7-10 probably. The record would keep you out of the top just because of the way stuff
I was
works.
just kind of reading around so that I can be somewhat conversant on this, and like the Arkansas people are pretty geeked up about the early showing from their pitching for the most part. Yep. You know, they had some guys overperform over to expectations over the course of the weekend. They're excited
because that was their question mark. Pitching, we didn't really know.
Because if they can pitch, that lineup's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. It's good.
So you know, the league's just loaded. I mean, that's what you come away with is the league is loaded. Oh,
Tiger's car pictures being.
Ooh. Well, that's a hell of a wreck.
Yeah. I don't know schedules year in advance, so I mean it's very possible they play Vandy in Florida next year, but they rotate 3 off, and you never know who they are. So you could get unlucky one more year, but you can't get as unlucky as you are right now. Oklahoma Rebels says Oklahoma lost to Nebraska Omaha. Yeah, I mean the Big 12 is not good. They and look, we're doing all this about the SEC West, and we're not even mentioning LSU. I know they lost Air Force.
That's why I mentioned them a little bit. Yeah,
I know they lost Air Force, but Jaden Hill's a hell of an arm. I mean, look, if you're counting out LSU after one weekend, then go ahead at your own peril. I'm not ready to do that yet.
The Golf Channel finally
just now
going to the biggest story in golf.
I mean, man, you're also seeing their change. They basically shut down their Florida offices and moved people and tried to save money with NBC, and this is a part of that.
No, the league's really, really good. We'll see. It's the conference grind is going to be a real challenge for fan bases. It just is, because there's going to be weekends where you're off a little bit and they're on.
And it just doesn't work out.
Popped. And there's going to be weekends where you're on and they're a little off, and you pop them, and everybody goes, "Oh, here we go." We're awesome. It's like, nope. It's the odds are overwhelming that it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster.
I'm looking at Arkansas's schedule. I want to see what they pull from the East. Because look, let's be honest. That's what's going to decide this thing a little bit too. Is who you play. They get Tennessee. They miss. Arkansas got no favors either. They don't play Kentucky. Well, they got one favor. Arkansas doesn't play Kentucky, Missouri, or Vanderbilt. So not great, not terrible there for the Razorbacks.
We have a super chat from FPSS. I don't know how you say it. Anyway, he says Josh Mallett looked absolutely filthy. Was that a flash in the pan? Sorry if you already touched on this.
Josh Mallett's freshman, true freshman. He's incredibly good. Finding roles on this pitching staff is very hard. I thought he did. He jumped off the page. A lot of movement, fastball, slider. It was all over the place in a good way. Let's see. I think it earned him the ability to get in the conversation because, look, you know what Broadway's role is. You know what Chopey's role is. You know what Forsyth's role is. There's only so many roles when you get in league play of where the guy's going to pitch. You know that Kimbrell's going to pitch because he's left-handed. You know Drew McDaniel's going to get some midweek starts and also kind of be a middle, long relief kind of guy. So they have room. I think Mallett's is in that Brandon Johnson, the JUCO kid that threw yesterday. Wes Burton's probably in this group. They're all kind of in that one more dude gets it. So who's that one more dude? Because there's just not room for 9 on pitchers. I mean, Mike's not going to get that far down the stable right now. But you'd rather have them. And, I mean, look, a lot of people are graduating. Look at the roster, see who all's gone at the end of the year, and then there's plenty of room next year for all these cats to throw because it is one turned-over roster in a year. Last thing, kind of looking at State, too. I want to see who they play. I don't know what their schedule is over there. They play Kentucky. They play Missouri. Okay, State has by far the easiest schedule out of the 3 teams. They do because they get both them. So they miss. Quickly scrolling. They miss Florida. They miss Georgia, and they miss Tennessee.
2 I'd want to miss for sure.
Yeah. So nobody hit like the perfect home run, but State has the best. State has the easiest. Arkansas has the next easiest, and Ole Miss has the toughest out of those 3 schedules. But again, like I said with Ole Miss, I'd much rather have it this year than last year when every team had that ace that you were scared of or worried about. At least some of those dudes graduated after last season.
Did you see my boy Jack Leiter's mechanics?
I did.
It's better.
I mean, he's not as...
He might not be better now.
Would you take him?
Yes.
You still got to feel really good about it to pass and grab him, though. But
I mean, look, these are famous last words about pitchers. His dad was a hell of a pitcher. I think he's better than his dad, and his mechanics are so clean. His mechanics are so clean, and they're so repeatable, and you watch the overlays on his stuff. I don't know how you hit him if you don't guess right. Look, let me make this clear. Kumar Rocker's a stud.
Yeah.
Okay? Kumar Rocker's the total package. He can't miss. He's going to pitch in the major leagues for a long time. If Leiter pitched anywhere else, we wouldn't be talking about him in this secondary way.
Well, that's true. Now that's a good point because he's relegated to number 2 status, and
put Leiter on the Ole Miss team. He's their ace.
Yeah.
He's the face of the program right now.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh my God, this team is.
Yeah.
This team is the end of the Omaha or bust.
Yeah.
That's how good he is. And you could say, well, you could do that with Rocker too. But you already do that with Rocker.
Yeah. He's the dude. I mean,
my point is because he's on Vanderbilt and he's a year below Rocker.
Even though they're both eligible in the same.
People don't talk about him in the same rarefied air, and I think they're breathing the same oxygen.
I would be tempted to grab him first. Tell you who I want no part of that all these stat geek scouts want is Judd Fabian at Florida. Give me the arm. Get Fabian the hell out of here. I care nothing about that bat.
No.
He had a bad first weekend. He's going to strike out a ton. I'm good. No thanks.
When there are arms like that available.
Well, like that pitching ninja thing where it was like 99, 98, 98 or whatever it was, you went, whoa.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And even if the gun was a little hot, okay, fine, whatever. 97, 96, 97, I'll take it. Like,
it's just repeatable mechanics.
It is. Yeah.
And then he breaks off from the exact same release point, his off-speed stuff. I mean, you got 60 feet 6 inches to figure it out.
A really dynamic curveball that fell out of the.
Yeah, I mean,
because I saw all the other SEC fans getting on there and going, no, he has no breaking stuff, and I'm going, no, he's got some breaking stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He's got some.
He's terrific, and that's what I mean. I mean, you can be a team like Ole Miss that's just rolling, and you run into them one weekend.
Oh,
and it's just,
Vanderbilt is the one team in the country where if they are at 100%, there's nothing you can do.
Right.
You can't overcome it. Now, look, they've got some holes in some spots, though. Like, I don't love them offensively. I mean, look, they've got pitching depth. Let's not belly around the point here. They're good. Florida had some issues. They're going to be fine. They're still a top 5 team. But they did not look like how I thought they were going to look over the weekend. I actually watched some of Florida.
The question is, why are repeatable mechanics so important for an effective pitcher? Well, number one, that's how you prevent injury, number one. And then from a competitive advantage, if your mechanics are repeatable and they look the same to the hitter,
you're removing variables too.
The hitter now can't pick up something, and now you've got a hitter guessing.
Yeah, like the word they use now is tunneling, where you throw everything out of the same tunnel and nobody picks up what you're doing. But again, a lot of it too is just command. I mean, if you can do the exact same delivery location, the exact same mechanic, you're taking so much stuff out of it. If you can't do that, then it's like a golfer who hits the thing everywhere. Well, it's because his top half and his bottom half don't line up together, and he's having to overcorrect and make all this stuff, and it's a nightmare. It's the same sort of principle. If a pitcher has different places where his arm is on one pitch and the next pitch, and his legs are in a different spot, I mean, your timing has got to be incredible, or you're all over the place.
And if you're a scout, this is really more about long-term scouting than it is whether Ole Miss can beat Leiter on a Saturday. We'll talk about that when the time comes. But from a scouting standpoint, when you're investing money in a guy early in the draft, one of the things you're looking at is, all right, is he going to get hurt? How much torque does he have? How much, is it just a matter of time before he starts developing shoulder issues, elbow issues, those kind of things? When I watch Leiter, what I see is this guy who gets so much out of his lower half, and his upper body stuff is kind of nice and free and easy, and it looks the same.
Well, I mean,
he is one locked-in dude.
2 really good SEC arms for Ole Miss. Washington Casey, who has to time it up a little bit and kind of just has a more of an athletic sort of deal. And then Hoagland, very repeatable, very easy, just kind of throws it in there, kind of flips it. And
now, Diamond kind of looked the part a little bit yesterday too. I mean, I'd like to see a little more. But if I'm a scout yesterday watching Derek Diamond, I'm intrigued. I mean, I've made notes that we're coming back to watch this. We want to see. He didn't leave much to be desired. He got a little lucky in, like, what was it, the 4th or 5th inning? The ballpark probably saved him a run.
It did, yeah.
But from a pure pitching standpoint, I really liked what I saw.
Yeah, I tried to get Mike to kind of joke around a little bit about the whole Stanford thing. I was like, "You feel like you got a gift there kind of late in the process or whatever?" And it showed you the non-baseball people who are reading the articles and stuff, because a couple of them go, "Hold on, Mike mentioned they had money." And I'm like, "We have scholarship money, not like you're not paying baseball players."
Stanford didn't take him academically, and so he falls into your lap. Yeah, hell yeah, it's a gift.
Yeah, he was the number 19 player in the country. If you're Stanford's head coach, you just walk in and quit. You go,
yes,
Derek Diamond has had a 4.0 GPA, a 29 ACT, and is from California.
And he's going to be the ace of my staff, and you say no.
I'm out. Yeah, somebody will hire me. I'll go coach somewhere else.
That's where you say, do I have an agent? I need to get an agent.
Because the dude had been committed and done for a year and a half. I mean, he's playing quarterback on the football team, gets a call one day after practice, and it's Stanford's admissions department going, "Hey, I'm sorry, your application was denied." He has to start all over.
Yeah.
In October of his senior year, when this stuff's been over for years with those kind of guys. But Derek Diamond, being the talent that he is, he made a couple phone calls, and in 4 weeks he had visits to LSU, Virginia, TCU, and Ole Miss.
Yeah, from a baseball standpoint, it's really worked out.
Yeah, they're all better programs than Stanford.
Yeah. He looked really good. I mean, to me, the biggest, if I'm an Ole Miss fan today, the thing that I'm most excited about is that I'm 3-0, and Nikhazy didn't give me much.
1.2.
I mean, if you tell Mike going into that first game, you're going to have to go get Nikhazy in the second inning.
He thinks
he's not happy.
No.
He's thinking there's an injury or something's gone terribly wrong.
And he's also going, God, my bullpen. Now I got to throw 8 today, and then.
Well, that's what's going to give them a chance to be nationally competitive.
Yeah.
They're
so deep.
Don't get me wrong. They are nationally competitive. But when I say that, I mean a chance to be a championship team.
Yeah.
What gives them a chance is that Nikhazy's almost certainly going to give you more than that the rest of the way. And so you've got these other pitchers that can go deep into games. And once you figure out your bullpen, and he typically does, Mike does, once you kind of figure out your bullpen over the course of time, well, now you can put people in roles where you can maneuver weekends.
And I was asked this question a lot. Look, Mike, it did never even cross Mike's mind to flip Hoagland and Nikhazy. So, no, it's sticking there for a long time.
No, you can't do stuff like that.
No.
That's got to be 5-6 weeks in a row before you.
No. When, frankly, you're at such an advantage. I mean, they're going to be the favored team 95% of the time on Saturday and Sunday with Hoagland and Diamond.
I'd rather have Diamond on Sunday, frankly, where that's your chance to go 7-3 on Sundays.
Yeah.
Because, look, if you can go 5-5 on Fridays,
that's all you're asking Doug
to do. You sign that right now.
Yeah.
Because you're running into dudes.
Oh, look, if they throw up some huge number in league play, that's how it works. 5-5, 6-4, 7-3.
Yeah.
That's 18-12.
Yeah.
Cooking with gas at that point.
You'd still have some people wanting to fire 5, so. I'm just telling you, if you offered 18-12, they'd jump at it. If you offered 17-13, they might sign the paper.
Well, it was like last night. Kendall was playing on Twitter because he knew what he was going to do this morning. But he was like, yeah, Arkansas wins tonight. I'm not sure who we're putting number 1 or like whatever. And like all the Ole Miss fans are going, you're not jumping Arkansas over Ole Miss when they beat the same teams. They're doing all this big thing or whatever. And I sent Kendall a thing. I was like, oh, they love each other. Just make them co-number 1s tomorrow. It'll be fine. They'll all handle it well.
The obsession with the rankings in late January is
it's February.
Late February. I mean, it's crazy. You just want to win, and you want your team to look good. Being number 1's cool, and it's something you can market and all of that stuff.
Well, they asked Mike last night. Some media member did. I don't know. Was like, what did you think about it? You talked to your team, and he said, "Look," he goes, "I want to be number 1." He goes, it's great for like promotional material and recruiting and stuff like that." He goes, "But why am I talking about it?" He goes, "It doesn't help me do anything. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't do anything from a winning standpoint." He goes, "We're always good." He goes, "I don't talk to them when they're number 2 or they're number 3 or they're number 7. Why am I talking to them when they're number 1?"
Right.
And he's like, whatever, And Derek was like, "Yeah, we kind of played around with it yesterday morning." And he basically said he was a little worried. He goes, "I didn't want it to affect, like we needed to kind of put it away." He's like, "But then once we got to the park, it wasn't a big deal and we kind of moved on."
Yeah. It's February.
Again, they just expect to win when they go out there every time. We'll see what happens when the adversity hits. But right now, by God, they just expect to win.
Well, no, that's what they're doing. It's what Vanderbilt does. Frankly, it's what Arkansas does. It's one of the things that he's done with that program is that even when maybe from a talent standpoint they're not exactly there, they believe they are.
And look, that wins some games a year.
Sure it does.
You beat some teams before you ever get on the field.
Sure it does.
So I get it. I mean,
absolutely. I use them as a specific
I don't
reason.
think Mike's upset that they're kind of cocky and kind of petty out there.
No. Well, I mean,
let them roll with it.
Look, you can say what you want about the people in Nashville, but they've won titles and gotten that far for a reason, and it's not a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, and you have to look at what you're doing. And
you're not doing calisthenics, but you're just
but you copy some of the other stuff.
Yeah,
you can hate Vanderbilt all you want to; they're winning, and I know they have the advantage and all that stuff. But I'm talking about the product on the field; they're winning, and they win with an edge.
Yeah. Yeah, Vandy and Louisville are the 2 teams in the country that do the most of it, and that's kind of what I see a little bit from this group. I
get it. Well, it works. I mean, few teams that, for whatever reason, the last few years, the teams that sort of have some edge, I've noticed that. Look, I don't cover it. In the past, you saw that with LSU all the time. Edge, lots of it, chippiness, edge. With Arkansas, it's been that way the last 3 years that I've noticed.
It's why the 2 programs kind of get at one another.
Yeah, their edge is pretty sharp.
Yeah.
So you get too close to it, and it hurts a little bit, and you get a little pissed off, and that's kind of what they do. So you either can fight that by having an edge of your own, or you can start losing games to teams like that. And I think that's where Mike has matured as a coach a lot. Not only backing off some of the stuff that he did in the past I just think he relates to kids differently now. I think he sort of rolled a little. I mean, who knows what would have happened last year. But
he's a better coach now than he was 10 years ago. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
We've not touched basketball. Ole Miss tonight at 8 at Missouri. I haven't checked nets today. I don't know that it matters. Here's the bottom line for Ole Miss. They have to win. Doesn't matter how you win. You just have to win. If they win, it's a quad 1 win on the road. It keeps them alive. It sets up a Saturday game where you have to win at Vanderbilt, which would set up, if you won, a home game next week against Kentucky that you have to win. And if you win that, you get a game somewhere, probably at home next weekend. If you're Ole Miss, you hope it's against LSU because it's an opportunity to get another quad 1 win kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't need Carolina that day.
You need LSU or somebody, and then you have to win that. And if you do all of those things, you're very much in the bubble conversation going to Nashville. If you don't do one of those things, you've got to go to Nashville and probably either get to the final or win the thing. And simple as that. For people that want some sort of analysis on what it means, you probably have to win it.
You don't see a lot of juice out of getting to the final anymore, honestly.
You know, I wrote about this on Sunday. I've had people ask me, is it Kermit's fault that they weren't ready or whatever? See, I don't think so. And I've been critical of Kermit a couple of times this year where I thought he threw kids under the bus. I didn't think he threw them under the bus on Saturday. I thought he answered a question honestly. He said, I saw it coming.
He did.
I talked about it. I begged him. I told him what was coming. And for whatever reason or reasons, they just didn't answer the bell.
It's a little lead the horse to water. I mean,
there's a lot of that, and give Mississippi State a ton of credit. They were ready to go from the opening tip. They were dialed in. They played hard. They out-hustled Ole Miss. They fed the post. They had a disciplined game plan. They operated the game plan. Give them a ton of credit. And for whatever reason, Ole Miss didn't answer that bell. And I wrote about this the other day. Sometimes I was listening to Kermit talk, and as he was saying it, I thought he's going to get crucified for this. Mm-hmm. And I thought he's right, though. And I made a parenting reference on 10 Weekend Thoughts. I don't know if you read it or if anybody out there read it. You can't make your kids want something. You can give them opportunity. You can encourage. You can preach. You can cajole. But you can't make them want something. I use Caroline as the best example. My middle child, she's 17. She's a high school senior. She's in tryouts right now for a college dance team, which has been her goal her whole life. I can't make her do what she's doing today, which is going to the studio on her own with a camera and a computer and filming herself and looking at it and refining and going over the critique that she got from the coach and all. I can't make somebody want that. Mm-hmm. You can't make your kid want to be a great baseball player. You can't do it. You can put him on a travel team. You can buy him the nicest bat, the nicest glove. You can hire him a swing coach. You can hire him a pitching coach. You can do all the crazy shit that people do. But if he doesn't want it, and all Kermit could do was tell them, hey, I've been in this game. I've been on the other side of one of these rivalries games when we got our ass beat in the first game and we got our pride hurt and we came back. I'm telling you, I know Ben Howland. I know Mississippi State. I grew up at Mississippi State.
Yeah.
I've been in this rivalry here. I've seen it. They're going to show up ready to go. You're going to get a war today. And that's what he told them. And they didn't listen. And at some point, that's not on the coach. At some point, that's on them. It'd be on the coach if the coach didn't tell them, hey, here's what's coming, guys. You are walking into a fire pit. Understand it.
Yeah, sure.
Bring your fire gear.
Yeah, this isn't Nutt ignoring going to Starkville in 2009.
It's a great example.
Yeah. That was just fine.
That was on Houston.
Yeah.
Houston didn't believe it. When people told Houston, hey,
It's different.
It's going to be different. He said, man, I've played Mississippi State 10 times at Arkansas. We won 9 times.
I said, not with that on your shirt.
And he said, we beat them 45-0 here last year. And they said, yeah, but you're going to Starkville this time, and you're wearing Ole Miss on your shirt, not the little hog thing.
Yeah.
You're not wearing a red shirt.
That's the week before the Ole Miss game.
You're not wearing a red shirt with the white hog. You're wearing a red shirt with the Ole Miss script on it. And they don't hate the hog. They hate that script. Yeah. They'll be ready for you. And he didn't believe it. And it cost him his tenure at Ole Miss. They never recovered from that.
Yeah.
And so this was an opportunity for Ole Miss on Saturday. And if the season ends up turning, kind of going south a little bit, that's the moment that you write about. And you know, when you become totally dependent on one guy, like Ole Miss did with Devontae, when Ole Miss got away from Romello, who knows? I mean, that's at some point if it ends up being what I think this team's probably going to end up being when you dissect this season, I don't really know where to start. Mm-hmm. But at the end of it, Kermit's going to have some soul searching from the last 2 seasons because I'm fascinated to see tonight how they respond. Tonight's gut check.
Yeah, here's your shot.
This is it.
Keep it alive or don't, right here.
Yeah, how bad? I'll be curious to see tonight how bad they want it.
Mm-hmm.
That will be fascinating. Effort level. Because they beat Missouri by 21, and Kwanzaa's a pretty proud dude, and they're going to be ready to play. You're going to get Missouri's best shot today.
Sure.
So it's literally, in my opinion, kind of litmus test for this team.
8:00 tonight for that one. Rebels and Tigers.
Tell you real quick that the podcast brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. They're also home to the Pinnacle Trust 401k advisory services team. They can conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You get 10% off your first year's fees. It's pintrust.com, PINN trust.com. We're also brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. One's in Ridgeland, one's in Flowood. You can also go to collegecornerstore.com and find them on Facebook and Instagram. They've got the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. And we're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air. Today's one of those crazy days. It's this time a week ago, it was 10 degrees and sleet falling from the sky.
Hot today.
Today it's 70 and sunny. So, in other words, it might be a really good time to make sure that your air conditioning is ready to roll, in addition to your heating that you still need for a few more weeks. 662-801-1777 for a professional HVAC experience in Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. Comer Heating and Air. Also brought to you by our friends at Muddy Water Camo, muddywateroutdoors.com. Go in and order one of the jackets or vest. Those Tri-Zone heated jackets or vest. Buy one, get one free. Buy one of the batteries. The free, not free. The My Charge portable battery charger, and the second one is free when you buy the first. And we're brought to you by our friends at Lammons Fine Jewelry, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford, serving the Oxford area for almost 75 years. Engagement rings, wedding rings, children's jewelry, collectibles, everything. They're the fine standard, the gold standard in fine jewelry. LammonsFineJewelry.com or 662-234-2777.
Yeah, Mark Steinberg, Tigers' longtime agent, says not much more information, but does do another confirmation. Says Tiger Woods was in a single-car accident this morning in California where he suffered multiple leg injuries. He is currently in surgery, and we thank you for your privacy and support. So, Steinberg.
Yeah.
Randall Chambly, currently on the Golf Channel, discussing the situation. Did you see the nice story, well-reported story about the NFL union, DeMaurice Smith, and the Jerry Jones stuff this morning?
I did not.
So this is funny. You'll enjoy this. You should read the whole story, but they're arguing about whether to play 17 games, 18 games, like discussing
regular season games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Finding it here where it. So I'll read just a couple snippets that were pretty good. Said shortly afterward, owners went upstairs to join a group of team and league executives who asked what had just happened. It would turn out the deal that the union turned down and would have been roughly $1 billion better for the players than the deal they would cut months later, the sources say.
$1 billion?
$1 billion.
Okay.
Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys took the floor. Quote, "Look, my daddy grew up on a farm in southwest Missouri. Every so often in the spring, the wind would come from a different part of the country, and the moon would set a different way, and the owls would start F the chickens." Nobody knew where he was going with the story.
Okay.
"The owls are F the chickens," Jones continued. "It makes no sense that they turned this down, but it's a great thing with us." He's trying to rally the troops a little bit. So, scroll on down.
Okay.
"It became obvious that owners wanted to expand the regular season. In one contentious meeting, Richardson discussed the owners' desire to add a 17th game, reminding the room that under the terms of the 2006 CBA, the league could activate as many as 2 extra games without union approval. Quote, "We're not playing 17 games, Jerry," said executive committee member Dominique Foxworth, who now works for ESPN. It's not going to happen. Richardson sat straighter in his chair. "We can make you. We don't have to ask you. We're being nice by not saying F you, you have to do it." Quote, we're being nice by not telling you F you, we're not playing," Foxworth responded.
Oof.
Quote, "We're being nice by not telling you F you, we'll play with replacement players," Richardson said. These are not Fs. Here's the this one.
Yes, I figured they were
quote,
saying the word. Yes.
Quote, "We're being nice by not telling you F you. Good luck filling up stadiums with Ryan Leaf at quarterback," Foxworth replied. "It was getting out of hand. That's a lot of F you," Smith said, adjourning the room. So,
wow.
got a little heated at the NFL union meeting. Poor Ryan Leaf, minding his own business, trying to stay out of it.
Ryan Leaf's like, "What did I do?"
Yeah, story here, really, really well reported. It's from Don Bonata and Seth Wickersham.
Wow.
So, yeah, really, really good stuff there.
Why would they turn the offer down? Another $1 billion.
$1 billion from what they ended up settling for later.
Boy.
Billion. Do some math.
Well, this is happening in baseball too, where the people that represent the players' union, they're not realistic.
It's just
they're so rigid.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming, by the way. The end of this baseball season, the labor agreement's up.
That could get nasty.
Oh, I mean, two sides that just don't trust one another at all. If you're the NFL, you got to be really careful. You're sitting here as the king.
Don't screw it up.
Entrenched on your throne. Why would you run any risk of letting someone mess with the throne?
Yeah. Last couple things. Rockets planning to waive Cousins, sources say. Let's see.
Fine with me. Lose all you can lose, Houston. Because I'm developing a little too much of a sense of affection for Cade Cunningham. I've got to get this under control.
Oh gosh,
Cade Cunningham starting sometimes to look to me like a more athletic Luka Doncic.
Really?
At times.
That's high praise.
There's not much wrong with his game. I love that kid. I mean, these are not life-threatening injuries with Woods. Is that correct? Is that why we're being so weird with the coverage?
Well,
because the coverage is weird.
CNN is the only people who have said anything even sort of about that, and their statement was, let me find it. Everybody else has just mentioned legs.
Okay.
CNN said that Tiger Woods' injuries range from, quote, moderate to critical.
Critical.
That's all I got.
Because it's odd to me
everybody's being, we have no volume, but everything's being very weird.
Well, I'm looking at Twitter and stuff. What's odd to me is that this is the face of your sport in so many ways. I know he's no longer the best player in golf. He remains the most recognizable person in golf. Is that fair?
Oh, I mean,
to the mainstream
100%.
fan?
Oh, not even close. Yeah.
So here's this guy that, at the very least, when his golf career is over, is going to be the next generation's Jack Nicklaus. The face of the sport when he shows up to hit the first shot at Augusta. Everybody can't. It's must-see television.
I tell you
and no one's saying any, because if all it was broken legs, you can fix legs.
Here's the thing. Michael Eaves, by the way, from ESPN,
we're
saying,
concerned about substance here.
I think.
Okay.
Michael Eaves says injuries are not considered life-threatening. Currently undergoing surgery on leg injuries. Local police source said the initial report from the scene was indicated possible of multiple leg fractures. So legs torn apart. But
yeah,
Michael Eaves is a hell of a reporter. I'll take his word for it. I think there's the worry that it's substance-related. I think that's why there's this, hey, one car accident, what'd you do, what's going on? Tiger has a history, and frankly, somebody said it in the stream. Everybody was given benefit of the doubt, but on Sunday, he looked out of sorts during that interview at Riviera.
7:12 in the morning.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder if this was after an all-night.
Yeah, no idea. Could still be whatever, but yes. So.
He'd kind of put a lot of that away, though, right? He'd gotten over it, a lot of that stuff. He'd gotten better.
Yeah, we thought so. I mean, I know nothing. So
what you don't know is for people like him who live in perpetual physical pain, the line between taking medicine that moderates the pain and abusing that medicine is often razor thin.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he was. I don't. Yeah, that's all we're getting. I was kind of looking up, and that's kind of it. So, hopefully, it has nothing to do with it. I have no clue, but I hope that's it. Golf Channel's kind of going back to their normal coverage for the WGC workday coming up. So, anyway, Ole Miss, Missouri, 8 o'clock tonight from Columbia. We'll have coverage at rebelgrove.com. Be back with you tomorrow as well for another podcast. So, stay safe. Appreciate you in the stream, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.